and labelling for all food, and National and Labor should explain
Gordon,
tonight.
We're getting ourselves around the debate here. A lot of questions. Here we go. One from the Labor camp, sir.
Well,
Labor and National can explain.
moving out of home.
Can we hear the question, please? Country of origin labelling.
Moving out of home when you grow up and go to university or polytechnic, that's a rite of passage in New Zealand. But right now you're penalised for doing that, because to get a student allowance, you're assessed on your parents' income right up to the age of 25. I'm wondering, what will your party do to ensure that if you're a young person, you want to invest and grow in higher education, you won't be penalised when you move out of home and become an independent person?
Well, the Labor Party, under the leadership of Helen Clark and Michael Cullen, have said that universal student allowance is something that we want to achieve, and education is a public good, and we should treat students like the adults that they are. Imagine me testing up to the age of 25. It's ridiculous. So by 2012, all students will receive a universal student allowance, and that's on top of our amazing interest-free student loan scheme. That personally saved me thousands of dollars, which I put into paying for my first home. I'm very proud of that.
Universal student allowance doesn't come into full effect until 2012. So it's a long, long distance promise.
What's National
That's the
providing
first
for
point.
students,
The
Richard?
second point
Nothing.
about it is, as you possibly know, students are asked to basically bear 25% of the university fees, and the government picks up the balance 75%. That doesn't seem unreasonable to me, particularly also in a circumstance where there is the prospect of interest-free student loans. National's got a particular policy on student loans to keep them interest-free, but to also allow a very substantial rebate for early repayment.
The Green Party's position is to support the Labor plan to take away all those age qualifications. There should be a universal student allowance, and it should be adequate to live on. The fees should be reduced, and then the students would need to get these loans that put them into $30,000 debt.
The grim reality is this. Whoever wins the election, your rite of passage and the funding of it by everyone else in the room is sadly going to be cancelled. Whoever wins the election. That's what the Labor Party is doing. That's why it's having a mini budget in December, the month after the election, because it's not prepared to tell you now.
The Labor Party understand that education is one of the three key pillars to increasing our productivity and growth in this country, and we know that investing in our students makes this country a great place and makes it a much more prosperous place. Thank you, students.
Gordon. Well, let's hear from the National camp. Sir, you've got a question.
What is in the mini budget?
Yeah, I'd like to ask Kate, given we're being told ad nauseum that we can trust Helen Clark and Michael Cullen and we can't trust anyone else, how can we trust a government that helped itself to $800,000 worth of taxpayers' funds and gave it back when they got caught with their hand in the cookie jar? That doesn't sound like a government that you can trust.
Okay.
The Electoral Finance Act is about big business and big money not winning elections. It's about every New Zealander having a democratic say and being involved in their elections. And I'll stand by
the Electoral
that.
Finance Act. It's nothing to do with the Electoral Finance Act. Nothing to do with it.
We believe that it was legitimate party spending, and we paid it back, every single cent. Hard-working Kiwi members of the Labor Party paid it back.
Okay, can I ask a quick question before we go back to Wallace on the floor? I just want to ask a quick question. Richard Worth, I look at the National signs here, and they're saying choose a brighter future, party vote, party vote, party vote. We've got Rodney Hyde being voted for here, Kate Sutton. Is it more important to encourage a national party vote rather than your own individual vote in this electorate?
Yes, it is. And let me explain why that is.
We work so well together, don't we?
Well, no, I simply want to know. Richard.
Well, may it continue.
Richard, I simply
He's a
want to know.
very good member of Parliament.
Richard, I simply want to know whether, and we all know it's in best interests of National Party who are seeking government here, to have Rodney Hyde and the ACT Party as a possible coalition partner in 3 weeks' time. Have you given up on winning this seat for yourself?
Absolutely not. I'm still a constituency candidate. But the critical vote is the party vote because of the pure nature of MMP. You get 46% of the vote, party vote, you get 46% of the seats. So you have to concentrate on that vote. And if you look at all the hoardings around New Zealand, actually, they will say party vote National, party vote Labour, party vote Green.
And in my case, the way I'm going to be elected is through the party vote, because I'm number 6 on the list. Okay. I'll get elected through the party vote.
Another quick question. Sorry, Wallace, I just want one more quick question. In the last election, Kate Sutton, the Labour Party was quite keen on the Labour supporters voting National to try and keep ACT out of the picture. Is that going to be happening again from your personal perspective in this election?
At this stage, we're running a 2-ticks campaign for Labour, so that's a candidate vote for Labour and a party vote for Labour.
Rawdon, let's go back to the Greens.
This one for Keith. Keith, what are we going to do to protect the economy against the rising price of oil?
Well, price of oil some people say the price has gone down temporarily, but if you look at any of the statistics, oil is running out and it will resume its upward march, particularly as we come out of the recession internationally, and it is important to reduce particularly the use of petrol in our transport by building a decent public transport system and by energy efficiency measures that reduce our reliance on fossil fuels.
Oil leads us very nicely into looking at the general economic picture we're at. So I want to hear from each of you individually about the general economic picture, where we're at, where we're going, and why you think there's a reason you should be sitting in the Epsom seat to try and help us along. We'll start here with you, Rodney, very quickly.
Oh, the economy is relatively strong, but we've got a problem with our current account deficit and our government deficit. We need to get government spending under control. We need to recognise that it's small to medium business that builds the economy and provides the jobs, and we need to get rid of the red tape. I'm sick of Helen Clark.
Okay, we've heard about the red tape already.
What we can eat and when we can smack our kids and what light bulb we've got to use.
Richard Worth.
And
Richard Worth. Thank you, Rodney. Richard Worth.
Well, I think we're in for a very tough time. And we're in for a tough time because bank finance is going to significantly tighten up, and that's for people who want loans or for people who want to extend loans. We have a 5-point economic plan. Without getting into any of the detail of it, it includes personal tax cuts, regulatory reform, dealing with the bureaucracy, the national focus on standards.
Our economy's in great difficulty,
we know that.
Partly because of the takeover.
What are you going to do for it? In one sentence.
Try and stop and reverse the takeover of our economy, which is causing great difficulty, and plan for a future with climate change and peak oil.
All right.
The reason why Richard Worth can't give you an answer as to what their plan is because they haven't got one. We've do. Under Helen Clark, we have got a great plan which involves investing in education, investing in our road infrastructure.
All right. Okay. All right, Kate, we're going to let Wallace wrap up.
That's it. Camp Epsom, that's us. Who do you think won the debate? Who won the debate? Was it Labour? No! Was it National? Maybe it was the Greens? Or was it Camp Rodney High?
OK. Thank you very much, Wallace. It'll be fascinating to see what happens on election night. And that's it for this last Swing Seats debate on TVNZ7. And you can see the debate at any time on TVNZ On Demand. You can log in at www.tvnz.co.nz. You can see it again on TVNZ7 at 12:10 tomorrow or at 9:10 on Saturday night. A final thank you to our candidates. Thank you also, of course, to our audience and to you at home for watching. Bye-bye.